MJ's recommended bookshelf. I've been getting a lot of emails lately about recommended books, so I created this page. These are the books I recommend and their topical breakdown. If you notice, General Wealth really doesn't have many recommendations. This is one of the reasons why I wrote. There are other books I will add as I go through my bookshelf, and I will update this thread accordingly. Thanks. Very appreciated. Thanks for the list. As expected, it's not the typical list you see on most websites. I am currently reading and have read Rich Dad. The rest are being added to my wish list. I have a feeling my current read, Who Owns the Ice House, will be added to the list, only a few chapters in, but I like what I've read thus far. I'll report back when finished. Thanks, MJ. Reread the yesterday and was thinking the same thing. What books would he recommend in addition to his great material? And here it is. After reading your list, it seems like a great one. I was sort of surprised you had a Tony Robbins book on the list, but it is one that I am reading currently. I must say it is really great. Some people really diss Tony, but his information does work if you apply it. I can't believe how dense it is, though. Thanks again, MJ. Michael. I just bookmarked this and I'm going to refer back to it whenever I need a new book. Thanks, MJ. Thanks, MJ. I am almost done with What Rich People Know and desperately want to keep secret. Really good book so far. I wish he came out with a newer version though. Have you read The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People? And also, what books are good on running your own business? Thanks. I was actually reading Awaken the Giant Within also until I got sidetracked by He. I was planning on reading it, but when I got it in the mail, I did what was supposed to be a quick preview but couldn't put it down. About 20 pages left, then back to Tony Robbins. Thanks for the list. It's hard to know which books on Amazon have legitimate reviews. There's a trend lately of authors flooding amazing with fake good reviews, and it's very frustrating. I guess good old-fashioned word of mouth may be the best way to discover good reads. So what books would you recommend for someone just starting out in web design? My goal is to learn enough in the next year to start a site similar to Facebook. I am currently reading Web Design for Dummies. You have to start somewhere. I have also bought a social web design book for my Kindle by Gavin Bell. Any recommendations on the subject matter would be greatly appreciated. I just finished Who Owns the Ice House? I'm jumping off the back of Mr. Walter's field truck and getting into the crowded cab of Uncle Cleve's pickup truck. Looks like I've got some reading to do. Thanks, MJ. I just bought Cashvertising from your link. Damn. That book is gold. Loving it so far. MJ, I just completed my second reading of your book, and still am amazed at the brilliance of it. Have you thought about getting the book translated into other languages? I was thinking about writing a similar book in Chinese about the real way to wealth, though with a bigger emphasis on disproving the popular notions about education and money in Asia. Would you be interested in having the book translated into Chinese? Thanks, MJ. I was looking for exactly this list. Just wondering. Although Rich Dad, Poor Dad is an iconic book and establishes the concept that Kiyosaki advocates, I thought his cash flow quadrant book has more meat for the fast learner. Thoughts? Cheers, Malatamk. Sorry, I can't remember the CF quadrant, and if I read it, if it details RDPD further, then sure, why not? I tend to rip on RK, but I still recommend his first book on the basis of the entrepreneur or control philosophy. I view RK as a fast lane author or entrepreneur, not a reinvestor. The cash flow quadrant goes deeper into the entrepreneur or control philosophy than RDPD did. Kiyosaki's ESBI quadrant demonstrates why the 99% never achieve wealth. Left side of quadrant E, employee, working for someone else. S, self-employed or small business owner, where a person owns his own job and is his own boss. Right side of quadrant P, business owner, a person who owns a business to make money, typically where the owner's physical presence is not required. I, investor, investing money in order to receive a larger income in the future. Essentially, B is the money system-based business and I is someone after the cashing out event. The core concept of CQ is that being an investor or business owner gives one more freedom and a higher upside than being an employee or an owner-operator of a small business. However, IMHO is cash flow quadrant on super-galactic steroids. Some remarks about the cash flow quadrant. The cash flow quadrant as a concept seems to be invented by Keith J. Cunningham. Cunningham was one of Robert Kiyosaki's mentors and is used in the Kiyosaki books as one of his rich dads. Another book that is highly influenced by Cunningham is Rich Dad's Guide to Investing. The first half of the book Cash Flow Quadrant is very recommendable in that the concept is explained quite clearly. The second half of the book is fluffimo. Keith Cunningham has a different explanation of the CQ than Kiyosaki, who seems to have misunderstood the concept somewhat. According to Cunningham, all squares in the quadrant are okay to be in as long as you are capable of introducing enough control and leverage. For example, he often quotes Larry Ellison, CEO of Oracle, as being an E. Ellison is a billionaire and this is due to his almost total control of the company Oracle for the past 30 years. In my analysis, the concept of the CQ is flawed in that the vertical axis has no meaning at all. The quadrant should be a sequence of 4 stages, E, S, B, I. Almost everyone starts at E or S, then you progress to B and I. In other words, the sequence is linear and is not a figure with a vertical and horizontal axis. According to Cunningham, the symbol plus was inserted into the quadrant for no other reason than to symbolize the word plus and in so doing to express a sort of positivism to all quarters of the quadrant. This would explain why the vertical axis really has no meaning. Kiyosaki is aware that he is bad with details. It seems to me that if he really had understood what the CQ was about, he had morphed it into a linear sequence. Keith J. Cunningham seems to have a new book out. The Ultimate Blueprint. It's definitely worth checking out. Keith is a master. Thank you MJ. The list is very much appreciated. Ronald Nigeria. MJ, what did you think of Stephen Key's One Simple Idea? I read that book before MF and I found it to be helpful, but lacking some more advanced info. I am going to post my questions on licensing and endorsements in another section of the forum. If you have any thoughts, or resources to share, I'd love to hear about them. Thanks again for writing a great book. Rich. Interesting that you recommend Rich Dad Poor Dad. Definitely a good book. I find his second book, Cash Flow Quadrant, is also a good book. Simon. Bump for newcomers and if MJ wanted to add anything to the list. Ditto. It's been a while and I'm sure MJ has read countless books since then. These books are golden but would love to see his updated recommendations. Please. MJ. B. Just my 2. But the At Work book series are Fastlane Gold. Gamers at work, founders at work, coders at work, venture capitalists at work. I'm reading Who Owns the Ice House along with How to Get Rich. They both are really intense books with a ton of blunt and mean advice which usually none of your peers give you. Next in line is The Blue Ocean Strategy. MJ, do you mind updating your list? Thank you. Sign. Hey MJ, which others books could you add to the list? It would be fantastic to update the list every month. Greetings. What rich people know and desperately want to keep secret was a game changer for me, probably got me started on the path way back when. Another good one in the same tradition of that one is Richard Dobbins' What Self-Made Millionaires Really Think, Know and Do. Thanks for the awesome recommendation. I just ordered 2 of the At Work series, Founders and programmers alt off not on your list here. Good stuff, man. Is this link broken? It doesn't open on my iPhone. Thanks. The link is broken. Do you have an updated list? Not sure if this is the latest link, but I have found this in one of the earliest posts by accident. Haha, the book list is broken, link and outdated. The link to the bookstore points back to the forum, but the one greedy but good post, it still works. I was afraid the page was gone. Sorry guys, but this is probably the one you're looking for. David Deida, The Way of the Superior Man, posted a review. MJ, you mentioned that you studied Sylvester Stallone in there. Were there any specific books you read about him? I would like to explore his business mind, but I want to make sure not to get a book that only talks about his acting career. Thanks. Guys, it is best to quote MJ to tell him the link is broken for this kind of thing, as it will notify him that he has been quoted and spike interest. Hey MJ, you are missing out on some affiliate sales kickback here. Assuming you don't feel promoting these is conflicting with your goal of selling your own book, which I doubt given you have a whole book section on here. Sent from my Nexus 6 using TaperTalk. Current link. Thanks for that. You may want to optimize that page for mobile devices if it is a source of revenue for you. Why to reach screenshot attached. MJ, thanks for the list. At first I was haphazardly pulling books out of the air that I thought would help, and then I remembered this forum and found your list. Thanks to MJ for this list, really appreciated. Personally, I suggest The Lean Startup by Eric Ries, a wonderful book and an example of personal growth. Full of real examples and true stories, nice advices. A deep look into a strong and flexible methodology of growth and innovation. We need to add The Big Short to this list. Best written novel about the market crash in '08. Thank you MJ. While this is my first contribution to the forum, I have just finished your book. There is so much knowledge in the book that has been overwhelming. With that said, I plan to read it again, this time with a notepad to take notes. While this is one tactic for me to retain some of the many points you have made, I was thinking to myself, what other books would MJ suggest? Thankfully I continued to browse the forum before emailing you or asking for your suggestions in another post, unrelated. Thank you for the massive schooling you've given me in a short couple of days. I will stay committed and hope to have a much better post in the future, as I'm currently jumping roads, as you would put it, from the sidewalk to the fast lane. Thanks again. Nathan. I bought How? Atlas Shrugged, and Who Owns the Ice House online Monday, and they arrived today. I got some reading to do. Thanks for the list MJ. Great news. I finally got my wife to read. She's a voracious reader of fiction. I told her this is the only non-fiction business or money book that I will ever ask her to read. She's about halfway through now. Just the other day we were talking about a relative who bragged to me he makes $200,000 a year. Yet, he wanted to chat with me about creating a new business. He's 71. He should be retired. I was trying to figure out his story when my wife said, "Can't you see? He's a slow laner. He spends everything he earns." Ha! I loved it. She's using MJ's terminology now. Somehow I feel like it's a cool club for people who just get it. Thanks again MJ for writing the book. Hi MJ, I was looking for a new book to read and I have previously gone to this bookshelf for suggestions, but when I click on the link now I do not see the bookshelf. The rest of the page loads and there is a blank space in the middle. I've tried opening the page in other browsers, but still blank. Just FYI. Thanks, Marsupply. Same for me, using Firefox BTW. I had the same problem. If you check the source code the link's still there, but for your convenience. I'm on the hunt for some more good audiobooks and came across this thread. The link to the book list takes me to page 1 of the list, but page 2 or 3 won't open. Just FYI if mods care to troubleshoot. One of the things I liked early on was a business book summary service. I have no clue what's still around, but I found an ad for it in a magazine on a flight years ago. Loved that thing. 8 pages of summarized notes on business books sent to me on an ongoing schedule. I went through a ton. If I like the summary and wanted more meat, I then know which books to buy to read more. I also had open access to their library, which meant I'd devour as much as I could. Have read some of these suggestions, grabbed some notes and will scan through more later. Too many tabs opened reading threads as a newbie. Has anybody read How to Fail at Almost Everything and Still Win Big by Scott Adams? I started reading the first few chapters at a Barnes & Noble today but decided to set it aside since I didn't feel like I was gaining too much from it. Curious to know if it's something I should read end to end or if it's just a glimpse into a one-person's version of the experiences on the fast lane? Thanks for the recommendations. Anything new you'd add to this list, MJ? Read. Loved the book, pulled in all-nighter to finish it, looking forward to researching some of these books. I read based on the challenge in front of me. If I revealed the books I was reading now, you'd be like, huh? In other words, I probably haven't read a business book in nearly a year. It's an excellent and easy read that I'd highly recommend. I think it's about self-persuasion, changing habits type stuff, while his new book, Win Bigly, is all about persuading others in ways folks may not have considered. Both are good grief good. I love reading books and especially the ones that motivate my daily life like their Emotional Agility, Peak etc. Bookstore Updated. These are all books recommended by fellow Fastlane entrepreneurs, including myself. We'll add more as more of us recommend books. Sweet, there are some in the list I've never heard of. The War of Art is one of the best books I've ever read other than yours. Specifically for people struggling to maintain a creation process, whether it be web project, authoring, etc., any creative work where we hit a slump. The compound effect isn't bad either, for those looking at a long road to success or jonesing for the quick fix. Yes, I generally liked it. He relays a lot of Fastlane theology, such as you need to produce something that can be replicated by the thousands or millions. Nice, we'll add to list on next update. War of Art should probably be one of the first books a new entrepreneur reads after getting started. The entire book is about the fight against resistance. For what it's worth, Do the Work by the same author is basically the ultra-condensed, triple-distilled fun version of the same content that makes for a really easy tableside reference book to keep around your work area to pick up and read a few pages of when you hit that damn wall of resistance. I don't know why, but I hated Do the Work. Maybe would have a different effect if read first. I picked it up immediately after War of Art. How about you? Something you'd recommend? I actually have this on my list. Yes, I loved the book, and it goes much deeper than business. I am looking for books that helps MJ in option trading. I want to master trading, especially options. Unable to find the link for option trading books.